Hey there, my name is Pravus and welcome back to more Settlement Survival with the Easter Island Challenge mode. We are looking very solid right now. End of year 7, or April of year 7 I should say. And for the most part, our economy is looking great. I'm very concerned about food, but we're taking steps to try and make sure we get around that. Plenty of compost plus a bunch of extra farms should make this slightly better for us. We'll keep an eye on that and make sure that gets a little bit better as time goes on. Might actually decide that we want to go ahead and start researching things like fish ponds in order to make sure we have some other sources of food locally in the form of fish that's more stable than an actual fishing area and can be built on land if we want. But we'll come back to some of that. Clothing concerns me a little bit. We can't seem to get our happiness very high, and alcohol can only take you so far. The inability to build a church is surprisingly painful in this particular game, but we'll somehow make it work. Anyway, so it may not seem like we've made a lot of progress in the last couple of videos, because we're on, what now, episode 5? And we haven't even finished our first statue. It's over here slowly getting constructed. Don't worry about that, though. Everything's gonna be okay. I just need to keep expanding out in these general directions, keep building out houses, get rid of these dang tents, and move the population closer and closer, and it will start going faster. The important thing is, the most difficult part of this entire campaign, getting started, right, with no medicine, with, a hungry and unhappy and unhealthy population, has more or less been solved. Now it's a matter of slowly and consistently expanding out our economy to meet the needs of our growing population, and then keep making progress toward that objective. Now, you also might be tempted to think, well, okay, but you got it on easy street from here on out, right? No. And the reason why is the difficulty will start ramping up after year 10 and also as we complete some of these statues. But you'll see more of that in a bit. For now, let's go ahead and pause this statue, and I need to place down another marketplace and stuff somewhere. Let's think about this. Where do we want it? Small marketplace or a large one? Probably a large one, and I probably want to be building it out in this general area over here, close to the pasture. I think this is going to end up being a major housing area right along this area, so having a marketplace would be great. It does mean that this forester's hut and this gatherer's hut are basically going to be useless. I will be demolishing them at some point, but for now we can get this going. The only problem with building out marketplaces now is our population hasn't grown enough that I feel like I can afford to place a whole load of new workers down in this direction, right? We still need to continue growing our population to take advantage of all the new space. But the important thing is we can start transitioning our population centers from over here and further over here. That's what I'm going for. Let's do a quick comparison, by the way, for something like our soybeans and just see how effective this fertilizer is. So this small little plot right here got me 540 soybeans out of one worker, and an equivalent plot over here got 358. Yep. The compost plant for one extra worker and some materials that I already have in excess is a pretty significant efficiency boost for this entire area. That's going to help me with my food needs a lot. I love it. Let's see, we have a couple of tech points we can spend. What can I do with that? House upgrades and stuff won't do me a lot of good until we can get some building kits. Building kits we could do with, where was it? Logistics, no. Construction, no. Mining. Forges. Forges can take steel, glass, and bricks and turn them into building kits, which we can use for a handful of different upgrades. Not a bad idea. We're going to need that in order to get upgrades for our forges and our mines, but we're also not in a desperate rush for those. Books I don't think is worth it right now. Candy workshops, I don't know if we're ever going to get sugar beets, so I don't know if we're ever going to be able to make candy, so I'm looking for ways to boost happiness. I don't think there's a good way to do it. I mean, a house upgrade could be nice. It lets you have more people and stuff, also relieves stress, but that's kind of it. Fuel lasting longer is nice. I'll give it that. So that's not a bad option. That's something we might want to do. Alternatives might include going for that meat processing I said that I was going to want to do at some point with a barbecue. Not a rush right now, though. Could unlock the basket, and that would increase carrying weight if we start using our excess reeds to start making baskets. And then, if we put a second point into packet expansion, I don't think that this requires any more construction or processing. I think it's just straight up an 80 capacity increase for all of our citizens, which is pretty great. So I'm going to go ahead and do both of those. We're not going to worry about going for things like backpacks right now, but this should allow people to carry a lot more goods before they have to go travel a long way across the map. So I'm hoping this just makes everything a little bit more efficient. Something else that I wouldn't mind building, even though it's a bit early right now, would be the shelter, because this is something I am very confident I am going to need in the future. I want it to be in a somewhat central-ish location, so close to the housing centers if possible. Right here might be fine if we can do that. Ah, wait, there's one tile in the way. Gosh dang it. You guys gotta be difficult with everything, don't ya? Oh, come on. Right over here would have been perfect. Ah, dang it. This'll work, though. All right, we want to place this down. Does take some stone, does take some iron ore. This is not necessary yet, but it's something I want to build because I want to be sure that I never forget that I'm going to need it. Because when natural disasters do fire in this map, they are going to be devastating. And we need a shelter in order to tell all of our population to go and hide in the mountain. I'm not kidding. That is absolutely a thing that's going to happen. So... not for a bit. I think it's after like the 3rd or 4th statue that they normally will get turned on, but I think it'll happen automatically at some point as well, so we want to be prepared. The other thing I'm going to go ahead and do is build out this large stone statue right over here that we've had here for a while. Yeah, it cost me like 1,000 lumber, but lumber has not been an issue for a while. So we'll just go ahead and finish this sucker up, and then boom, we've now got the last of the stone statues built over here, which is going to reduce my stress even further. It hasn't recalculated yet, but I think we're going to go down to either minus 30 or maybe even minus 40%, something along those lines. So stress is about to go down, which actually means that city fertility rates are about to skyrocket, but that's fine. How are we doing on paper, by the way? Okay, we're actually using up all of our paper. We can go ahead and turn off some of the paper usage on the faraway schools. Because if we're not producing enough of this, and I'm not going to have enough to go around with the research institutes, and we're going to get a lot more value out of those than we are out of the schools. So let's make sure that these are the priorities at all times. There's another tech point. I don't think we'll ever get much value out of a mill. We could go for meat processing now. We don't have a lot of workers, but I am constantly running low on food. The population has simply grown too large. We're at about 400 people right now. So the options, I think, are to start working toward the fish pond to get a stable source of fish. But of course, that means I need plenty of workers to do that. Or meat processing. And I don't remember whether this actually increases the efficiency of our food or not. Like, more food overall from chopped up processed meat as opposed to just, like, taking the meat itself. I really don't recall for sure, but I think it's worth a shot. Let's grab a butcher, and the butcher I'm going to go ahead and place, like, down over here. Because it's kind of close to a bunch of pastures I've got set up, not only the alpacas, but also pretty close to a lot of the turkeys. So I imagine meat is going to be stored in this general area regardless. And we actually just got a new livestock. Okay, so that's the buffalo. Buffalo. That is actually a sentence, by the way, fun fact. More pastures? Yeah, they take up a lot of space, but I still think it's probably worth setting some of this up. Mostly just takes a bunch of lumber, but once they build up enough in population, it does translate into a pretty hefty amount of food. And it's consistent throughout the year as opposed to seasonal like the farm, so I think this might be worth a shot. We're very low on food over here, but we're just now starting to get into pumpkin harvest season. This is one of the reasons you stagger some of your foods. Have some things that harvest a little bit earlier to keep you afloat until you get to the big stuff. Like 1 million soybeans. Yeah, millions of soybeans. How are we still running low on dang flax all the time, by the way? I don't know, how are we doing on agave? Yeah, I would turn off some of these farms in favor of more food, but I really don't think I can. I think I have to just live with what I've got. Gosh dang, this is just proven to be a little bit annoying, ain't it? It does look like it's a little bit more efficient. You get 10 food and turn it into 15 mutton, not mutton, just any sort of meat chops. So yeah, the butcher should make my meat go a little bit further. We'll increase the number of workers over here. And basically, I just want to keep doing this kind of forever, honestly. Let's make this like 2,000. If the opportunity exists to take some meat and turn it into something useful, I say do it. Let's learn about the forge. Time to go ahead and start putting our steel and stuff to use. And with the forge, I'm sure I can find a good place to put it. Forge, there you are. How big are you? Big enough to be just a little bit annoying. Dang it. What about over here? Dang it. No, okay. All right. Let's go ahead and demolish a couple of these tents. Yes, some people are homeless. Oh my god. It's almost as if I'm filling out houses as fast as I can freaking demolish the tents. Who would have guessed? But yeah, let's go ahead and place these suckers down. Keep this population moving. I'll turn the stone statue back on, but it's going to take a long time to build. Very long time. I'm really not thrilled how long it takes to get these statues going. Dang it. Hey, look, our stress is down to 2%. So yeah, minus 30% is the permanent buff we're now having just for keeping these statues around. Beautiful. All right, that's going to be very helpful. 2 of my mines are about to actually be completely tapped out. Might be time to look at getting some upgrades. We've got the lamp oil, we've got the planks. Let's go ahead and start working on that, get those things upgraded as soon as we can. I am starting to demolish more tents, and I'm going to place down some interim housing. It's going to basically remove childbirth from a portion of my population, but also creates good temporary housing as I continue knocking down some of these tents. I'm kind of concerned our population, you know, as much as I can need it to continue to grow, might be growing faster than I'm able to handle in some ways. It's constantly requiring a lot more resources than I actually have available, which is a bit of a problem. So let's try to keep on top of that as much as we can. This will also give me a pretty good idea of how many more houses I need to be building in order to make sure we keep our population fully at capacity. Because every time I tear down these tents, they're homeless until we can build something for them, and it's hard to predict. This way I actually know. I've got 21 people who need homes. All right, I can build for those people, no problem. Let's go ahead and start spending a few points getting toward these fish ponds. I'm going to wish that I had other sources of food that I could get even during the winter, and I think that that is something that might help me a little bit. We're in the green across the board, and after a massive harvest, we're looking at a good 6,000 plus food. We actually had more like 8,000 earlier. So we're getting a lot of food. It's just a matter of making sure we stay afloat until we get to harvest time. And this is where, during the winter, when I have lots of laborers around, I'm trying to gather up all the plants I can. Fun fact about being in a hot place like Easter Island, it never snows here, so our plants don't just, like, die, which is great. And we can start getting some building kits. I don't mind using pretty much anything for this. Glass, bricks, steel, planks, all that's fine. It doesn't really matter whether they use bricks or glass to me. It's all the same. Let's make sure we're producing plenty of planks, though, because we're going to be producing a couple hundred of these things. And we'll use that for all manner of different upgrades in the future. It's a fairly expensive investment, though, as well as having, like, lots of labor required as well as resources. Not the best thing in the world, but we'll live with it. We are in April. That means it's planting time. You know, here's something I never even noticed. There's a bunch of people with a bunch of, like, ropes right here, and they're just sort of hanging out. And I'm moving. I assume these aren't my actual citizens stuck in stasis, and it's just a graphic meant to represent lifting the statue? I have to assume that's the case? Because otherwise, this is just downright horrifying. Fish pond is active. Now I can place this in any of these locations over here. We can probably fit a couple off in some nice little areas over here, for example. That's not so bad. Or maybe right over here? Yeah, sure, why not? Doesn't really matter all that much. It's just, I like a little bit of aesthetics. But cool, let's place down a little fish pond, and we'll see just how effective this is in comparison to a proper dedicated fishing dock. Why do things the old way when we can just cultivate fish in our own tiny little pond, our own little fish farm? Oh, somehow we're up to 12,000 food now. Oh, heck yes. Okay. Food appears to be more or less getting settled. Wow, that's a lot of soybeans. So many soybeans. I hope y'all like being a bunch of soy boys. Soys are good, actually. I mean, I like soy. Soy's pretty tasty. Anyway, all right, so how good is this fish pond gonna do? No idea, but that thing is built. I'm gonna be setting up a storage yard over here expressly for the purpose of placing timber and nothing else. Because, actually, maybe some ropes as well. Rope wouldn't be bad. Construction materials, is that what it is? Maybe it's textile materials. Anyway, the idea being that once we finish with this first statue, I want to be able to quickly get people up over here to just drop stuff up at the log pile, because we already know what we're going to need. It's just a bunch of logs and a whole load of rope. That's it. I'm placing down some extra building cabins over here next to the stone plinth to try and force people to get over here and continue working on this a little bit faster. Some tents, just in case people can live over here. To be honest, it's not being as smart as I would like it to be. I kind of wish this was like Banished, where people would automatically assign themselves to whatever the nearest jobs were as far as their living. But why do we have a miner and a paper maker and a forester living way out here, right? Like, that kind of thing is really, really inconvenient. Nonetheless, though, I'm trying to just force people over here so that they get back to work on this. We're in the middle of year 10, and we're only about halfway through on this statue. I kind of wanted to have made more progress than that. So I'm a little bit concerned about it. We'll keep working on it, though. We'll be okay. We don't need as many builders over here. The reason I'm placing them down over that direction is because I was looking at this builder's cabin, one of them over here, and a bunch of builders are just standing around doing absolutely nothing for some reason. So I'm like, well, screw that. You guys get down there. Get to work. I'm not too sure why all of a sudden it got kind of dark outside. Huh. Did I hit a hotkey that accidentally turned on the day-night cycle or something? Or is this meaning something really bad is happening, like a solar eclipse, and I'm just not aware of it? I don't think I saw, like, a notification or anything. Okay. Might be just a bit of paranoia on my end, but I'm not liking this. Let's make some upgrades from our research institutes into research academies. This would allow us to start using books if that's something we are interested in. Not terribly, but there we go. Hopefully this translates into even more science for us. And then if we look down over here, we are really close to finishing up the first statue. My God, this is taking longer than I thought it would. And done. Okay, finished. Now we get our first round of events. So here we go, the wooden plank. The first statue has been built. The priest suggests using the ancient ritual script to record the great move. Do we want to do it? If we don't, everyone gets unhappy. If we do, everyone gets happy. Boom. I will go ahead and spend some planks. That is 1 statue done out of 7. Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a pain. All right, let's go ahead and allow people to start working on the second statue. Might as well, and we are kind of out of laborers. I'm not able to keep up with this as much as I thought I would. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and turn off things like the agave. I've got way more alcohol than I know what to do with at this point, so we're just kind of stacking up more agave than I need to. And look at all the food. Look at all the water, the lumber. We're doing really, really well. Economically speaking, everything is fine. From here on out, I should pretty much be spending all of my effort on building statues as fast as I can. That's all that matters now, is going as quickly as possible so we can get through this now that the difficulty is starting to ramp up. And lastly, before I end this video, I want to draw attention to something else I've been working on in the meantime. If we go down to construction, I have been getting things like material recycling and stuff. I'm also going to go for the reinforcement over here. So what this does now is it opens up some remodeling options on pretty much all of my structures, and now we'd be able to start spending some of our building kits to prevent certain buildings from ever being destroyed. It would be impossible for that to happen. That could be important because now that natural disasters might start to happen, we're going to wish that we had the ability to do this. So that's kind of why I'm doing this. We'll stack up a whole mess of building kits, because I guarantee you there are going to be at least a handful of buildings we're going to wish that we had the ability to reinforce so they would never get knocked down. I think one of the biggest problems I'm having right now is, believe it or not, despite all the complaining I was doing before, I'm not sure my population's growing fast enough. I keep finding ways to take up all my laborers with new jobs and keeping them operating, which is good. Like, you don't ever want to have too many laborers, but at the same time, you need a bit of a buffer. Suppose that somebody died, like just someone did just now, and you lose laborers, and you got none left, and then all of a sudden your school shuts down, and all the kids graduated without actually getting their degree, and then they're a bunch of dum-dums, you know, that kind of thing. Same thing could happen in Banished, by the way. Really no difference here with Settlement Survivor, but yeah, I don't know. I am a little bit concerned about not having enough laborers. We have a frick ton of kids, so like it's not like we're not going to be able to solve this at some point. Actually, I need this to stay on, don't I? It's not that this isn't going to start settling itself out. It's just going to take a while for them to freaking grow up. Let's go ahead and cancel some of these building huts where we don't need them. Over here, we can start producing fish. You start producing water. Because I built a small market over here with the intention of placing down a small neighborhood so people can hopefully live in this area and be ready to work on those stone statues a lot faster. In the meantime, we've got these building cabins already assigned over here so that people can keep working on this statue. Again, remember, the goal now, at this point, since we've already committed ourselves to taking a very, very long time to finish out our first statue, we're now at a point where we are committed to going as fast as we can. If the difficulty's going to ramp up, then the best thing to do is get through it as fast as you can so it's painless before a bunch of disasters sit around. Like, we don't have the time to sit around and just kind of, you know, twiddle our thumbs for a bit. That time has passed. We've enjoyed luxury for a while. Now it's time to really get serious. Super duper serious. So we'll finish this sucker out and we'll keep going. Oh gosh, a lot of people dying of old age. Yeah, we had a bit of a population boom for a while, didn't we? Oy. Tell you what, we don't need as much agave anymore. If we're going to turn off a couple of these distilleries since I have way too much beer or alcohol of some sort, we can turn that off for a bit. As far as technology, I think that I could do a couple of things. One, getting the advanced research is not a bad idea. You get proficiency growth rate. The higher your proficiency is, as we've seen with something like construction, the better in general everything is, and actually having higher building durability is going to be very, very useful to me when the natural disasters do start hitting. So getting more proficiency growth is great. However, rather than go directly for that advanced technology, I got another idea. Let's go over here and research the boarding school. I can't build it yet because we haven't got any furniture, but the next technology is the academy, which is just a better version of the school, right? Don't care about that either. However, finishing the academy gets me 3 tech points. So I'm spending 2 basically just to get 3 and speed some stuff up. Is that really worth it? I don't know, but it feels right, so we're gonna do it. New tech points, get the academy, and boom, we got 3 more tech points. Let's get that advanced research so we can get our proficiency to level up. I'll come back to these a little bit later. Hospital, can't do until we get bedding. Bedding, I believe, is over here. Yes, so we could go for the toilet remodels, which would require actual toilets. Remodel materials for luxury houses and stuff, meh. But bedding would allow us to get a bedding shop, which takes some rope, some stone, and timber. That's not so bad. Or alternatively, get an advanced one using some lamp oil and steel. And this would allow us to get some bedding upgrades for more occupants and houses, which is certainly going to be nice. But also would allow us to go for a hospital for an even higher health boost. Also, if we want to get furniture to get things like boarding houses or whatever else, then this is something we're going to end up needing is some furniture. Not that furniture comes across as a super high priority, but it's something we could do. There's the last tech point we were looking for. Let's research that hospital for an upgrade to our clinic, and we are about to finish the second statue. Now it has to be moved, and you guys know how this works. Now we gotta deliver a load of timber and rope. Good news is I am freaking rolling in timber, so that ain't no issue. Plus, I got about 2,000 ropes that I'm sitting on right now. So that really shouldn't be too much of a problem. I'd actually like to go ahead and put some more people on this because we're going to replenish this pretty quickly. How are we doing on reeds? We got 2,000 of them. Good. Let's go ahead and start producing more baskets since those seem to be getting used up extremely fast. So that'll be a good thing to work on. In the meantime, while people are delivering resources, let's go ahead and upgrade our clinic. Never mind, we need the bedding sets first. Bedding, I am placing down over here at the advanced bedding shop, which just needs to be built at this point. Should be fine. It's just, once again, I gotta sit back and wait a little while. Bedding shop is done. We will have people start making stuff out of... We don't have any cotton. Wool? I don't have feathers. Do I? Wait, hang on. Turkey, you giving me feathers? No, they are not. Oh, crud. Am I literally unable to make this as things currently stand? I think that might be the case. I thought that using linen was enough to make this, but no. It's linen plus feathers and or wool. And I don't currently have a way to make this, so dang it. All right, never mind. I guess I'm not making any bedding. The only way that I'm going to get some of that is probably to engage in some trade with certain foreign traders who might come by Easter Island at some point in the future, which I had hoped to avoid because there's actually a lot of dangers that come with having people bringing resources to our island and whatever other plagues they might carry with them, but, you know... All right, fine. When we eventually get the option, I'll unlock traders so we can start having merchant ships, which only come by like every couple years. And we'll see if we can buy a whole mess of feathers or something. Then make the beds, then get the hospital upgrades, and then everyone's gonna be even better in their health. In the meantime, the second statue is about to be moved toward the sea. Boom, all right, there it is. Just like before, let's go ahead and turn this thing on so we can have some people working on it. Down over this direction, we don't need as many building huts, so we'll go ahead and free up some workers that way, kind of reshuffle them around a little bit. And boom, all right. So that only took me about 1.5 years-ish to get the second statue up and running. So now we're really starting to cook with gas. And I don't think any of these are going to get, harder, per se. We've just got 5 more of these to go, plus the carving down over here, which we've already learned takes a very long time. But that is why I've been building houses down here, hoping that maybe some of these people will actually take on the building jobs. Apparently that was too much to hope for, though, because basically none of these people are builders. Well, gosh dang it, why don't you guys just work with me for once? Fine, we'll build some more houses. It's not like I don't have plenty of resources to go around. We'll do all that. Oh, and also, one of my mines over here is completely out of resources. We want to upgrade this to a senior mine, just like we did with one of these over here. No problem whatsoever. Eventually, we'll be getting some more upgrades. Let's remind ourselves what that takes. Lanterns, building kits, steel, for both the quarry and for the mines. Once we have those, that is an unlimited source, and we'll never have to worry about that again. Good news is I've already been producing a handful of lamps over at my lighting factory. Let's see, we have at least some lanterns. 195 at the moment, right there. So as I produce more lamp oil, I'll go ahead and swap over occasionally to making some glass bottles over here, which we've already been doing. Got a couple hundred of those sitting around, and then boom. Before you know it, we're going to have a whole bunch of permanent superstructure mines that'll keep us going for the rest of the game. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and you think we made enough progress to at least satisfy you for a bit longer. If so, I'd ask you hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.